Hey YouTubers, I'm Jacob. This is a how-to video for replacing the turn signal indicator and hazards on my 1979 Ford Bronco Custom. This application also applies to the F250 and 350 models because they're very similar on the interior as long as you have the fixed column. I've included the product links for this in the description below, so make sure to click on that and check it out. And I'm going to have plenty more projects on this 1979 Bronco because we will be restoring it. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow along. All right, let's get right into it.
Here's a list of materials and tools you will need to complete this project.
Before you get started on taking everything apart, just check and make sure that your plug looks like it's compatible with what you purchased. That way you don't get into taking this apart and find out that you've got the wrong part. Once we pull this off, then we'll unplug the horn. Just be careful with it. Ours is really falling apart. Really falling apart. So it's just these simple blade style connections. We'll need a steering wheel puller. This is a steering wheel puller and harmonic dampener puller. It's kind of a multi-use, pretty affordable from Amazon. But once you find the right size, you want to line up the two holes on each end here. All right, got the steering wheel off. Set that aside. I believe we'll need to unthread the turn signal indicator here. Let's go ahead and unthread that. Just come right off like that. So I'm going to spray it down real quick, let it sit for a minute or two, wipe it down, and then use this pick to try and break it loose.
So essentially we want to use these red tabs to break it loose. Ah, yes. Whew. Finally.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so you can see how this is pushed up. And that is because I pushed this tab towards the center up. And that's what allows it to separate from this plug here. I then also use these two little guides here and pushed along it with a flathead screwdriver, and then also using the awl to kind of like pick and push and get behind it helped as well. So I'm not sure if actually pushing this in really did much, but it did move around more, and I think the biggest contributor was the WD-40 breaking it loose. It's definitely in there, so we want to make sure we wipe it down good. But, whew, man, I've been struggling with that for a while. Glad I finally got that thing loose. All my pins look good. Didn't look like I pulled anything out. I did pull one out on the existing, but that doesn't matter since we're replacing it. So now we're going to remove 1, 2, and 3 screws. Highly recommend using a magnet. Makes it much easier. Okay, now that we have that removed, you should just be able to grab it by the hazard here and just kind of wiggle it out. Slowly feed it up and out the column. And it's got this shape for a reason so that you can pull it through a little bit easier. Just like that. Okay, so I did take this portion off for the light bulb that fits in the hole here to light up your indication for what gear you're in. But it turns out the newer model is slightly different. And instead of having a screw holding it in, it looks like it just snaps right in place and you don't need to screw it down. Okay, so we'll start off by feeding this down. We'll want to line up here our hazard with this slot. And before I put this in, I'm going to get the bulb in place so it's not covering it. I'm going to use just a little bit of Loctite on these 3 screws going back in, just so it won't back out. I'm just using blue Loctite here. Nothing crazy, just a little line down it. I always like to go backwards before forwards so I don't cross the red. Leave that one slightly loose so we can get the others in. So now that we have that together, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. All right, so if you do pull this red tab, it is what releases these pins and allows it to pull apart. So you want to make sure it's seated all the way back in so we can get this plugged in together. There we go. Tuck this up and above here. And I'm gonna go ahead and thread in the turn signal, put the battery back in, and then let's test this out before putting it all back together. What?
Alright, turn signal's working.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I think pull it out.
Oh,
Are the hazards on now?
yeah, they're on.
Okay. You just have to pull the lever out. All right, left,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
All righty. Whew. All right,
right, maybe I want to wipe this out before we snap it back on there. This is really important to get the wheel straight on. You also want to make sure that you're not cross-threading anything. So what I'm going to do is remove my puller from the wheel so I can make sure I get my splines aligned correctly. Also, this indicator needs to line up as well right here. This little pin. Okay, so you could tell when it's lined up with the pin, there's just enough gap in there that when you turn the wheel slightly, you can see the pin moving, and that's what you want to see and make sure that that pin aligns with that gap. So this is the gap that you want this pin to line up with. Okay, so they're lined up on everything now, so I'm going to hand thread or bolt on.
Are you straightening it too?
It's already straightened. It's splined.
Good. Okay.
All right, there it is.
Phew.
So the last thing we have to do is plug in the horn and replace the horn cover. I do have one broken tab here. Eventually plan to replace the steering wheel, but I'm just trying to get it licensed right now. So these are the screws you want to line up on the back side of the wheel. But before we screw them down, definitely want to plug in your horn. Horn works.
Yes. Yep.
Wait.
Hazards.
Okay. Let's check the rear now.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Hazards.
Yep.
Let me check the brakes.
Okay. Yep.
Both.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh man.
Looks like we are ready for inspection. I hope this video was helpful. I've included the product links in the description below, so make sure to click on those and check them out. And as always, I'm posting weekly videos and I'll be restoring this 1979 Bronco and continuing to work on it. So I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel to follow along. Thanks for watching.